Okay, hello everyone. Today is Sunday, April the 30th. Today's the last day of April, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, April, May, and November. All the rest have 31. Yeah, so this is oh, we have made it through through a quarter of the year. So next week we'll be coming in, we'll be starting fresh in May. So that's what all of these April showers are about, so that we can have May flowers. So I can look forward to that. Okay, okay, everybody. Andre, when you're ready, you can go ahead and get started.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming on in. Again, we're gonna go ahead and complete this session. I do think with the Book of Enoch on where we are, and we're just gonna go ahead and let our audio finish off where we are, and then we're gonna open it up for questions and comments, and to see where everyone has come from this journey of the Book of Enoch, and can remember what was being said and how it has related to you, and how you can see the leadership in within yourself. So with that, I would like to open it up with thank you, first of all, Penelope, for letting us come together and building. And would anyone like to open up or us in prayer?
Okay,
Okay.
no, go ahead.
Oh, all right, Pen. All right, Pen.
No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Let us down this journey. Lead us down this journey.
Okay. Okay, well, let's just sit back for a moment and just know in our hearts and in our minds that there is only one creator, one source of all good, one source of infinite, of power, one source of power, one source of all presence, all being everywhere all the time, and being one source of being omniscient, knowing all. And we recognize that source is in us. And we merge with that source, we unite with that, and we become one with it. So we know that when we are really using our reasoning, and when we're really using our thoughts, and when we're really using our words, we're actually using the words of our Creator. We're using the thoughts of our Creator. We're using our Creator's mind and our Creator's actions. When we walk through this life, that's what we're doing. And as we come here together to learn more information about about not only the creation of the world, but the creation of ourselves, how we create and continue to create ourselves. We're always in a continuing spiral of creation, of when we are always creating and recreating ourselves. And we affirm wholeness, peace, strength, prosperity, good health, mercy, love. Those are the qualities that we are building in ourselves. And with that, we know that there is so much to be grateful for, so much gratitude, so much to be thankful for. Just to be able to be here, to say these words today at this moment, to have these thoughts today at this moment, still in these bodies. We have known people both young and both old who have not been able to, who are not here today, but we are. So that's where we show our gratitude. That's where we show our love and our praise and our worship comes from. And with that, we release into not only our minds and our consciousness, and not only in our homes, in our environment, but also in the community, in the world, in our nation, in all that there is. We release that same power, that same love, that same graciousness, that same health, that same prosperity. That's what we give. That's what we release into the world, just like the seeds of a dandelion. And when we say that, we say, and so it is.
Yes.
Okay. Just want me just to go ahead and start it?
Well, yeah, I think we can go ahead and start, and because we only have a little bit, and then I think after we finish this part of where we are, we can go ahead and do a reflection and see where we are. So yeah, I think we can go ahead and get started. I hope everyone is ready. If you're not, if you don't have your books or anything, take your time. It's just the video speaking. So take your time and definitely listen to the video and remember what we have already been studying and see where it leads us.
Okay. Like I said, this is going to be just a little bit further back, but not that much.
Eternal King, who hath prepared such things for the righteous, and hath created them and promised to give to them. Jerusalem and the mountains, ravines, and streams. Chapter 26. And I went from thence to the middle of the earth, and I saw a blessed place, in which there were trees with branches abiding and blooming of a dismembered tree. And there I saw a holy mountain, and underneath the mountain to the east there was a stream, and it flowed towards the south. And I saw towards the east another mountain higher than this, and between them a deep and narrow ravine. In it also ran a stream underneath the mountain. And to the west thereof there was another mountain, lower than the former, and of small elevation, and a ravine deep and dry between them. And another deep and dry ravine was at the extremities of the 3 mountains. And all the ravines were deep and narrow, being formed of hard rock, and trees were not planted upon them. And I marveled at the rocks, and I marveled at the ravine, yea, I marveled very much. The purpose of the accursed valley. Chapter 27. Then said I, for what object is this blessed land which is entirely filled with trees, and this accursed valley between? Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered and said, this accursed valley is for those who are accursed forever. Here shall all the accursed be gathered together, who utter with their lips against the Lord unseemly words, and of his glory speak hard things. Here shall they be gathered together, and here shall be their place of judgment. In the last days there shall be upon them the spectacle of righteous judgment in the presence of the righteous forever. Here shall the merciful bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King. In the days of judgment over the former, they shall bless him for the mercy in accordance with which he has assigned them their lot. Then I blessed the Lord of glory, and set forth his glory, and lauded him gloriously. Further journey to the east. Chapter 28. And thence I went towards the east, into the midst of the mountain range of the desert. And I saw a wilderness, and it was solitary, full of trees and plants. And water gushed forth from above, rushing like a copious watercourse, which flowed towards the northwest. It caused clouds and dew to ascend on every side. Chapter 29. And thence I went to another place in the desert, and approached to the east of this mountain range. And there I saw aromatic trees, exhaling the fragrance of frankincense and myrrh, and the trees also were similar to the almond tree. Chapter 30. And beyond these I went afar to the east, and I saw another place, a valley full of water. And therein was a tree, the color of fragrant trees, such as the mastic. And on the sides of those valleys I saw fragrant cinnamon. And beyond these I proceeded to the east. Chapter 31.
Web design, e-commerce, online advertising, SEO, and more. Web.com. One stop, all done.
The Mystery Series, Ancient Writings from God's Holy Word.
I am so excited because the Lord has told me.
And I saw other mountains, and among them were groves of trees. And there flowed forth from them nectar, which is named Sarara and Galbanum. And beyond these mountains I saw another mountain to the east of the ends of the earth, whereon were aloe trees. And all the trees were full of stacte, being like almond trees. And when one burnt it, it smelt sweeter than any fragrant odor. Chapter 32. And after these fragrant odors, as I looked towards the north over the mountains, I saw 7 mountains full of choice nard and fragrant trees and cinnamon and pepper. And thence I went over the summits of all these mountains, far towards the east of the earth, and passed above the Erythraean Sea, and went far from it, and passed over the angel Zotiel. And I came to the garden of righteousness, and saw beyond those trees many large trees growing there, and of goodly fragrance, large, very beautiful, and glorious, and the tree of wisdom, whereof they eat, and know great wisdom. That tree is in height like the fir, and its leaves are like those of the carob tree, and its fruit is like the clusters of the vine, very beautiful, and the fragrance of the tree penetrates afar. Then I said, how beautiful is the tree, and how attractive is its look. Then Raphael, the holy angel who was with me, answered and said, this is the tree of wisdom, of which thy father, old in years, and thy aged mother, who were before thee, have eaten. And they learnt wisdom, and their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven out of the garden. Chapter 33. And from thence I went to the ends of the earth, and saw there great beasts, and each differed from the other. And I saw birds also differing in appearance and beauty and voice, the one differing from the other. And to the east of those beasts I saw the ends of the earth whereon the heaven rests, and the portals of the heaven open. And I saw how the stars of heaven come forth, and I counted the portals out of which they proceed, and wrote down all their outlets of each individual star by itself according to their number and their names, their courses and their positions, and their times and their months, as Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, showed me. He showed all things to me, and wrote them down for me. Also their names he wrote for me, and their laws, and their companies. Enoch's journey to the north. Chapter 34.
Ben, you want to stop there?
I went
Okay.
towards the north,
Anybody
to the
wanna-
ends of the earth.
Does anybody want to definitely discuss what we just heard, or any comments or questions?
Well, I don't know if I have, oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Harry.
No, I was just going to say, it sounds to me like he was revisiting the Garden of Eden. Because what he was describing sounded very much like what was described. But what I found interesting in this passage is that there didn't seem to be a threat of any kind, because they did eat of the tree of knowledge or wisdom. Unlike, that's what I got from it. Okay. And they did bring in Adam and Eve, because he talked about Adam and Eve and their exile from the Garden of Eden. But it seems as though Enoch is going through revisiting the Garden of Eden, and he is allowed to eat from that tree of knowledge.
Well, I was going to kind of comment on that too, because that's a little confusing, because, first it was called that, he went to the Garden of Righteousness, first he went through the desert and all those mountains and the valley. And then he came out of the valley into all of the fragrant trees. And then he goes to the Garden of Righteousness. And then there's the tree of wisdom, but the tree of that Adam and Eve that I know of, that we were told it was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And this is the tree of wisdom. So I guess wisdom and knowledge do go together. But I think, you know, for me, just the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, it puts two things, you know, like it pits two things against one another, you know, whereas the tree of wisdom seems like the tree of life to me, whereas it only has one component. So, you know, I guess I am a little confused about that, because he says that that's where your what it was, your parents, Adam and Eve, ate from that tree and were expelled from the garden. So I guess I'm just a little confused about now where we are.
Well, yeah, of course, once again, we are dealing with of wordplay. And the way that we use words. So interpretation on how we take these scriptures is a very important thing. And what you just brought up, Penn, is a very good thing, because words, once again, are very important to us. And when we have been taught that, okay, this is this, and you know, and there were two separate trees, and you know, and it was a tree on, and of course how we are taught to think, there's a tree to think, to say, okay, you can't touch that tree, and that tree is around, but that tree is around the corner, you know. Hypothetically speaking, what if you're eating from the same tree, you're just eating different fruit? You know, as what was being said, you know, Enoch went through so many different ways he could smell the trees. He explained how his senses permeated through these trees, what his experiences with these trees, how he felt lighter when it was cinnamon, how he felt righteous with the righteous garden, how he could smell the sweetness of certain different things. So once again, it's all in interpretation, and it's all to understand who the person you are, because once again, just to remind that no matter however you look at it, the eternal life tree that we all hear about, that yay, Adam and Eve got to eat from the eternal life of tree, and as long as they ate from that, they were good, and this, that, and the fifth. They did eat from this. They did consume a knowledge or a point of view that has twisted, and whether it be a negative or a positive, it is a part of us individually that we have to distinct from when we choose to use our knowledge and to walk the path of life. So I'm looking at it from that point of view. But yes, it's all an interpretation. So it's a good way to look at it. That's just personally how I do. I thank Penn for pointing that out. Miss Harriet, I thank you for pointing out. Miss Joe, do you want to comment on what you know as far as the tree of life and the tree of knowledge and good and evil? How do you personally?
Well, I look at the tree of life. The tree of life is when Eve was tempted, you know, and ate the apple. So I just got a little confused. Maybe as we go along, you know, like you said, is how we interpret it.
Yeah. And let me let you all know a fun fact, just a fun fact on science. There are no apples that grow in the region that we're talking about, Black people. So we ain't talking about no apples.
Right, yeah. Anyway, the tree was the tree of knowledge, so you got to be eating some type of knowledge as opposed to like a fruit.
A fruit, yeah.
But
And I was just gonna ask, did he mention something? I got the impression that whatever that fruit was, it grows in clusters like grapes. I'm not saying it's grapes, but that's
Yes.
the impression that I got.
Yeah, well, most people scientifically look at it as that they were eating the common fruit that comes from the area of where we're speaking, which are dates. And I can't wait to get my hands on some dates. It's hard, but they are dates. They are more or less like a big grape, or
Well, I thought he said, did he say almonds? Didn't he say they were like
yeah,
almonds?
they're like
Yeah,
almonds. So and dates are
So-
the fruit of a date is a very big, it's the seed is very big. It's a fig. And we all know figs through, most people eat fig Newtons and don't know that it's a fig. That's the seed from a date, is a fig, is a fig. So things like that, they come from, it comes from the grape. It seems to, and me myself, I've been studying this where it seems to come from a vine. And with a vine, it comes from a lineage. So no good wine, you don't get a good wine from a bad wine of a vine. So it's kind of speaking in those ways. But once again, it's your interpretation on how you look at it. I'm just throwing a little bit of actual scientific facts out there. So if you all know Adam and Eve and all that, it won't know apples nowhere in these parts. They the best way we can describe a fruit that was on a tree. They're not saying a vine. They're speaking of a tree, is dates.
Well, one of the things that I'm really a little, I don't know maybe I have to go back because I didn't, look at it earlier. I should have. Because I'm kind of confused as where we are. Okay, we're still in that upper region of when he was taken into the heavens. So in the heavens, there is this place where they have the valley of the cursed valley. That's also in the heavens. And
well, to be honest, well, once again, interpretation. My point of view from this interpretation is that Enoch is not looking at what we would call heaven. He is looking down upon what we know as earth, and what we have seen as earth.
Oh, okay.
So there have already been wars upon earth. People have already corrupted. There are things.
He did say he was in Jerusalem.
That have already happened. So what we're dealing with is that type of point of view.
Okay, so he's looking on the earth.
He's looking on the what is fertile. Personally speaking, he's looking on to what is fertile, that is still not contaminated by man, and can still have a holy substance. So that's why he can smell the fruit. That's why he can understand the taste of the waters. As we all are right now, we cannot stand the food that we eat. We've been screaming, this food doesn't taste the same way it used to taste when we was little. Back in the day when my grandmama had chickens, we can understand the difference of what's being manufactured and what's being set upon us as not holy. So it's it's not only, it's talking about the corruption of what has happened with the food, the air, the water, the plants, the animals. And he is seeing something that has not been polluted, in my point of view.
Okay. Okay. So and all of those things are in the, oh, okay, well, I don't know.
Well, he's seeing something that is being prescribed. He is in heaven, but what he is seeing is on earth.
Is on earth, right?
And he's seeing land, he's seeing a piece of land and a territory that has not been touched and has not been tarnished. And that is the same thing that we study if you go to where we go to the book of Moses, that Moses said, hey, we're going back to this place. So he's seeing this, he's Enoch is forcing, personal point of view, Enoch is forcing what Moses is telling that the people will see, because corruption has already happened. The earth is already corrupted. You know, Cain has already killed Abel. There's blood on the land. People have lost their minds. You know, so we are in that point of view.
But it hasn't, but we haven't gotten to the flood yet, because isn't Enoch Noah's great grandfather? Yeah.
Yes, we haven't gotten there.
So he, excuse me. So so where he's based, so as opposed to like he was, and he still talks about the, you know, the righteous, because the righteous are going to be in a certain part of the judgment, whereas the unrighteous are going to be I guess in that cursed valley, which sounds a lot like, it sounds a whole lot like our hell, right?
Yeah, which also brings us to a point of view of a split in religion too. You know, that some people will believe the same way that we believe, but they'll just be in a desert. Though, you know, they will never understand the truth of it. They'll always be able to see it on earth. You know, they'll always be able to see this garden on earth, but they will refuse to accept it. And so many ways.
Oh, and in other words, how do I want to put this? Many of us look at the truth, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, through tunnel vision, and we don't see the whole picture. We only see a part of the picture.
And he's given to actually, you know, I mean, to be honest, he's the first, I mean, for a lack of a better word, he's the first astronaut. He's the first person to look up and say, oh my God, look at the earth that we've been given. Look at the clouds. Look at the beauty. Look at the greens. You know, I can smell the cinnamon. I can see the rain. I can see the animals move. You know, he is actually, you know, the first person to be able to look down upon this big planet that we have. I did the science project. I'm going to show you guys that too. I'm gonna have to pin if you have what I did with the boys' science project, and how I had this, you know, sitting down, and we're looking down upon what we normally see. You know, and it's a good way to look upon on how we see when we take ourselves outside of our world, outside of our everyday basis, everyday hustle and bustle, and just look at the world, just to stop to look at the world and take a breath and go, okay, now I see where I fit in it. And it's a challenge to come out of that picture. So I think this is the first, you know, person to actually can kind of speak on looking at it mentally as far as, okay, let me take myself outside of what everything that I know is going on, and then see it from a different point of view.
Mhm. Yeah,
Question.
looking at things from a new perspective. Okay, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. Uh-huh.
I have a question. Where in the Bible does Enoch first appear, or where is he first mentioned in the Bible? Is it in the book of Genesis?
Genesis, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's in that, like, what, that fourth chapter, right? Right after when they do all of the either the fourth or fifth chapter, when they do all
Yeah,
of the
when they're doing the
genealogy.
genealogy.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
So any other questions, or do y'all want to continue to move on? Everybody caught up, or is there any questions, or we a little confused?
Well, I'm a little confused, but I don't think my questions make sense right now, so I probably don't have any. So yeah, and I guess for
But
me, I'm just trying to figure out what level, where is he? You know, what level of consciousness is he? You know, or is he in? You know, are we?
Conscious.
You know, what am I supposed to be getting from this lesson? What am I supposed to be understanding here? I think that's one of the things that I'm trying to figure out for me.
hey, lady, there ain't no confusing questions. They're just within your mind. It might be confusing, but every question is an important one. Just want to
Oh,
let you
thank
know
you.
that.
Yeah. And also, like I say, this is interpretation. We'll never get the full truth, so we have to have our interpretations on how we take it. And also, you have to remember that we're dealing with a point of view where this is written, and what we are studying, and how we're just listening to the English part of it, so we can just kind of spoon feed it, that it's just a dialect to get us interested into seeing what the actual facts are. Because what we're dealing with also, we let's not beat around the bush. We're also dealing with the Arthurian legend with this as well. You know, there are a lot to deal with Western civilization. Come on, y'all. I mean, I'm not gonna bullshit it, but you know, it's just, you know, it's the interpretations on the words that are being used. So I wish we knew that the way to speak it in the actual language, but we can take what we can get, and we can interpret it what we can get, and we can define. So once again, the interpretation is up to you. So would you all like to keep on?
Yeah, we can keep going. Any more questions, comments?
No,
Yeah,
we can keep.
I was just going to comment that on personal experience as we walk this earth will give us the lesson that we personally need to have as we're going through this. Just my thoughts. That's all.
Say that again.
I said our interpretation, Andre keeps emphasizing, and rightly so, that we each have a personal interpretation, and that interpretation is based on our own personal experiences as we walk this earth. Just my comment.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I can go ahead and I think I can start it. There we go.
And there I saw a great and glorious device at the ends of the whole earth. And here I saw 3 portals of heaven open in the heaven. Through each of them proceed north winds. When they blow, there is cold, hail, frost, snow, dew, and rain. And out of one portal they blow for good. But when they blow through the other 2 portals, it is with violence and affliction on the earth. And they blow with violence. Chapter 35. And from thence I went towards the west to the ends of the earth, and I saw there 3 portals of the heaven, open such as I had seen in the east, the same number of portals, and the same number of outlets. The journey to the south. Chapter 36. And from thence I went to the south to the ends of the earth, and I saw there 3 open portals of the heaven, and thence there come dew, rain, and wind. And from thence I went to the east to the ends of the heaven, and saw here the 3 eastern portals of heaven open, and small portals above them. Through each of these small portals pass the stars of heaven, and run their course to the west on the path which is shown to them. And as often as I saw, I blessed always the Lord of glory. And I continue to bless the Lord of glory, who has wrought great and glorious wonders, to show the greatness of his work to the angels and to spirits and to men, that they might praise his work and all his creation, that they might see the work of his might, and praise the great work of his hands, and bless him forever.
So this is part 1. Are there more other parts? Oh, yeah, they look like they got a couple of them. Oh yeah, here's the part 2. Book of Enoch, part 2, full audiobook. So, okay.
So everyone, we've been going through this. How have you all digested? What are your likes, your dislikes, your questions, your comments, everything? You know, we've completed one part of the book of Enoch. Let me know how you all feel.
Well, I guess maybe I can kind of figure out why they didn't teach this, because it's very technical. It's, very advanced. I don't know, maybe if you go to seminary or you get, maybe that's one of the things you got to be the Pope or something like that. This seems like PhD material, It's, and because I like to look at things metaphysically, where you're looking at all aspects of it, you're looking at, through time, history, personality, you're looking at, you're looking at the words, you're looking at what it means to you, you're looking at what the words mean individuals as staying alone. So I think this is another like creation story, where we are learning to create, and we're learning how to create our, I guess, our individualities. It seems like this is a place where everything has to do with how we're growing, but I don't know. So I'm still trying to figure out what I don't know what I learned. I don't know what I learned.
Okay, for me, I would have to really go over this myself, because it's not that I feel lost, but I don't understand it, T-Man. And it's not because of you, it's because of me not being here to participate. So I've missed a lot. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Understand? Yeah.
But it's
really complicated stuff. I mean, it's really, it's not easy stuff. So maybe if we had been seeing it all along, and people would have been teaching from it all along, maybe we would understand it a little bit better.
So this is the book. Was this the book that was left out of the Bible, you said?
Yes,
Yes.
this is one of the apocryphal books that has been left out. There's only, uh one Christian book that really kind of holds it all, and I think Penn, you can help me out on that. It's
Mhm. The
I think the
Ethiopian
Ethiopian
Coptic.
Bible, yeah, the
Mhm.
Ethiopian
Ethiopian
Bible.
Coptic Bible has the book of Enoch, as well as the book of Jubilees, as well as the book of Baruch, and there are more there are more apocryphal books than just this. There are more writings and teachings that
Mhm.
were left out of the Bible,
Yeah, but
and
they
a
all
lot of
come from the Abrahamic tradition.
but it's all from it's all
Yeah.
from the Abrahamic tradition.
Yeah.
Tradition.
So it's
Thank
all like it's just not, they're not in our Christian Bible.
you. Yeah,
But it's all, it's all a part of like the Jewish Bible.
yeah, as well.
Mhm.
You have some of these books that
Their
are in the
writings,
Torah.
yeah.
Yeah, you have some of these books that are in the Torah and things as well. So it just depends on like you all were saying, it's something that's hard to digest when
Mhm.
you have been taught a certain way.
Yeah.
Um and understanding that, okay, this is the way that I have gone upon my teachings and how I have expanded on my teachings. So it's very interesting to bring something new into a sect of teachings that is not incorrect, but just not, but also what's the word I'm looking for? That also can have a point of view that is
Contradictory.
that is naive. That is naive.
Yeah.
That is a very naive point of view because of the way that we teach. We teach to the point that you have to be a certain age to understand this knowledge,
Yeah.
versus
Mhm.
due to just it's easier for us to grasp the knowledge if you give it to it one and one equals two.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a very interesting way of looking at it. And like I said, I tried to just for the sake of what we were studying at this point in time, I just wanted to kind of keep it biblically at that point in time. Because now, like I said, now that we finished that chapter, I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for aliens. Because that's what I was waiting. I'm gonna go
Okay.
ahead and open it up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and open up.
Well, for my 2 cents, I'm going to piggyback off of Joanne. I've been with us from the very beginning, but I have to go back over and reread it. They say that some things are better the second time around. Certain dishes,
Yeah.
especially spicy dishes, they're better the second day than they were when they first came out of the oven or off the stove. So to me, that's what this book of Enoch is all about. And the other comment that I want to make is he is giving us the other side of the story. In other words, what we are being fed from the anyway, our Christian
The
Bible.
canon. Yeah, the
Yeah,
canon.
yeah. They are just giving us the story from one perspective. Enoch is giving us the story from the other side. It's almost like going into court. The defense has their side of the story, and the prosecution has their side of the story. I'm
Well,
not saying he's prosecuting, but I would say the parallel is there.
I also, if you don't mind me piggybacking off of you, Miss Harriet, it's also that we hear so much of the prophets that we've always heard of. Uh, who were their prophets? Who came to them to tell them these things? we speak so heavenly of a burning bush of Moses speaking, and we know that Enoch is speaking of these bushes in this point of view where he can smell fragrance, and they are fine, and they smell of cinnamon, and we know so many different things of hearing these wills come down from Daniel, and we hear so much of we hear these scriptures that we have been taught with, and we do not know as far as the writings from the prophets that came before them. We know of them, and we know that they were taught this. They, otherwise everybody would have a good story. There are certain points of views in time where things happen, where these people were made prevalent. Yes, if we look in our Christianic Bible, we see on that page of Genesis, it says yes, and then such and such got this, and then they begot Enoch, and then Enoch, he lived this long, but Enoch, he walked with the Lord, and everybody goes, oh, that's where we know Enoch from, and then Enoch begot this, begot that, and then we know Enoch and Noah. But that bloodline goes all the way. If you study it, that genealogy goes all the way to Jesus himself. So what Enoch is speaking of what is to become, and he gets the opportunity to see what the world is and to see what it becomes after his genealogy. So he gets to speak on what he was speaking on. Hey, we're gonna have thousands of people. We're gonna have a conversion. Abraham is gonna come. Moses is gonna let these people free. There is gonna be one that comes that creates and mends everything that has gone on. And yeah, I get to see the ups and downs of it. He's seen the makings of what is going to happen and what we discussed before we even got a chance to even have the conversation that we have. So it's like I said, it's a hard one to digest, and especially if you haven't studied certain ways that have been studied. These things go back further than just our Christianic Bible. They go back to Samaria. They go back to Babylon. They go further back to Mesopotamia. They go these stories play a part in Zoroaster. These stories play a part in the Egyptian hieroglyphics that are on the walls. That these things were said to happen, and these things were written down in stone or on something that we can find for a purpose. So it's more or less understanding and digesting it, and yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it opens your imagination, and I think that's what we want to do, is to open the imagination to this metaphysics and understand that our history is bigger than what we have been told by Western civilization. This was also another reason why I did this. I don't think that it's 6,000 years. I don't think that it was just Adam and Eve and pinch me tight. I can prove it.
Now, I was going to say, another thing, a question crossed my mind. If Enoch was important enough to be mentioned in that fifth chapter of Genesis, as far as that genealogical lineage is concerned, why wasn't his writings included? Why were they left out? If he was important enough to be mentioned, why wasn't his thoughts, his writing important enough to be included?
We're
Yeah,
having
just a
that,
question,
yeah,
and I
we're
don't
having that.
expect.
That's the trip part about it. We're having that conversation now, 3,000 years after that. Why was it too? Was
Mhm.
it too big? What was it? Was it aliens? Was it little green men that came and picked them up? Was it just angels with wings? Was it white people with just blonde hair, blue eyes? Was it people with afros and halos that came and saw 'em? You know, we're still having the same conversation 3,000 years, you know, after of what happened back then to have a split up amongst our world. Because one thing about it is, no matter what, we know that even then, 3,000 years ago, it was a split. Then he's speaking of.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what was this split, and how do we fix it?
And that's what I was that's what I was thinking, because first of all, you know, language is so important, because we don't know. I mean, he uses a lot of words repetitively, you know, so that lets us know that those words in themselves are important. And because, you know, we only have them in English, we don't really know what he means by wind. You know, he could mean a whole lot of different things, say in whatever that language was that he was speaking at the time, or from the first writings of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I you know, I guess where I am is that I'm just trying to figure out, because everything, you know, in metaphysics, everything that we read, we put ourselves in that place, you know, because we are the ones that are the creators now. So everything we learn is a manual for us to know how to create. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what is he telling me? Because he's still definitely on the two sides. You know, there's a righteous side and there's an unrighteous side. And something is going to happen where, you know, some things get lost and some things become elevated, or I don't even know if lost is the right one, in encapsulated, you
Mm-hmm.
know, ensnared, and one side is going to be elevated. And is that what we're is that what we're you know, what yeah, what am I trying to learn? I guess I'm really confused at what I am learning. So you said, okay, so
I think we got to see. I think
let's talk about your aliens that you mentioned. How do they fit in here for you?
again, I do not think. Me personally, I do not think that this solar system was just us. I believe that we could have a couple different, you know, we had millions of years ago. I think our history goes further back than what we are allowed to know and are allowed to achieve. That's just my conspiracy theory. Um, and I believe that when we say that we see when these occurrences happen, yes, was there a leadership? Yes, but were these things physical beings? Yes. Were they allowed on our plane to a certain extent? Were they allowed to do certain things on our vibration? No. There are different times, there are different sects of things that go on. I can Human beings, one of the biggest things that we're going through right now is we're looking on the TV and we see Elon Musk. He's just built a new spaceship, blew up. Supposed to go to the moon. They keep spending all this money on these spaceships and they keep blowing up. They're never gonna go to the moon again. They're not allowed to go that far. We're not allowed to go that far out of our atmosphere, not because of like we're stuck here or it's a globe or anything like that. Someone broke rules a long time ago, you know, so that's why I believe that you see Mars a destitute planet. why you see the asteroid belt that moves the way that a planet moves, and it should be a planet there instead of just a bunch of rocks. Where did it come from? It's a scientific point of view that I also personally study, to say that there were beings here with us, and not only on this planet, that can actually be proven by fossils. You know, you got cavemen, you got Neanderthals, you got Homo erectus, you got Neanderthals, you got many different species of subprimates or primates on this planet that can be looked upon. But yet and still, as us as human beings, we don't enter the fossil we don't enter into the fossil record of Earth until 50,000 years as us being human beings. So it's a lot to do with that. Will I say experimentation or anything like that? I don't want to go that deep, but there is something intelligent in creation that brought forth us, and brought forth not only us, but brought forth this planet. It makes no sense that we are the only sentient beings that have actually been found. So, I mean, but once again, I'm going into a conspiracy theory with myself. But
Andre, I have to go back and look it up, but I think I saw it. I know I saw it this morning. I think it was on Facebook, and the premise was it was an advertisement for some kind of program or something that's coming up, event that's coming up, but they were addressing what you were just talking about. And
yeah,
I'm going to see if I can go back and find it.
I'm an ancient aliens. Yeah, I'm an ancient aliens theoriologist. I am an archaeologist, so
right.
I do study the history. It gets to a point where it becomes the split, and you get different entities and you get different cultures speaking of certain different entities and different gods, or in different shapes, forms, or fashions. You get, different pyramid shapes, different things, but the technology is there.
Mm-hmm.
The knowing for what we know as far as Western civilization, to say that Egyptians built the pyramids, but we don't know how they did it, because they couldn't even conform the will. It makes no sense. You can't put two circles together. Come on, y'all. Come on. Give Black people a little bit more credit than that.
Well, isn't the cradle of civilization on the continent of Africa? I mean, that whole area.
So therefore, they did all these things, the ziggurats, not just the pyramids. I speak highly of the pyramids because that's something that I'm into Egyptology. But even the ziggurats, which are the pyramids that are in Saudi Arabia, are bigger and older, or around the same age as the Sphinx. But yet and still, these people only had copper tools and couldn't build the will. But yet and still, Europe and Russia and in South America, North America, they're not doing any of these things. But yet and still, you find pyramids all through Peru. Mm-hmm. You find megaliths. You find these giant statues and altars all across, which takes you back to, okay, yeah, were there 200 people and were there 200 beings in that descended down on Mount Hermon and said, you know what, we're going to take over these people, we're going to make them work for us. There are many, and then it really breaks us down to the point we really did not want to go to, is how inherent slavery is a part of human civilization. Where do we start conquering each other? So we had to, it's something, if God said, y'all don't do this, he gave us knowledge and this, that, and the fifth, we, I mean, if we should find wills, we should find swords, we should find the things that we find in history. But if it's blacked out and it's bombed out because one sex steals a history and erases another history, which has been going on throughout the ages. Throughout the ages, you lose it. So therefore, the only way that I can look at it, me personally, and break this down is the interpretation of, you have to take it by what you feel. And if you feel that there were little green men, or if you feel that there were pretty little angels with diapers running around, or you feel that it's the Matrix and God is a giant machine, and what we're looking at is a facade of technology. However you look at it, it's your truth.
Mhm.
And within that truth, you should be able to take that power and create whatever you want to do. It's just the knowledge of understanding and knowing what they did, so you don't do it. How it was corrupted, so you don't do it.
But maybe this is what this third dimension is. Maybe this third dimension is this place of, of dualism. We don't have to see it at all. But if you partake more so than in one than you do the other without trying to find a balance, maybe that's what this realm is for. Maybe that's how come we don't see other anybody else, because nobody else is sent here except for those who need to learn this. So, and with the fact that Enoch, because Enoch was lifted up so that he could see past. I think Enoch is the only one that we have writings about, and I'm assuming that this is, I don't know, this is when he was taken up, and I don't know whether he came back, jotted down some information and went back. But everybody else who ascended, nobody else came back to tell us anything. We didn't get in, they were out. So
yeah,
so
Well-
are we in this place? Are we in this place to glean this kind of information? Because I don't know, like I said, this right here is very complicated. So I can understand why they didn't teach this, because they probably didn't know how to teach this.
They couldn't comprehend it. My impression is that talking about Enoch and him being taken up, my impression is that he was taken up more than once. He was taken up the first time and he returned, and then he was taken up again the second time. Am I correct in that interpretation, Andre?
I would have to go back and look at it. I definitely would. I definitely would. But where both of you you and Penelope are on what y'all saying, I do agree. I can see it as he was taken up a couple of times. Even if you study any Abrahamic religion that you study, the Quran. Muhammad was taken up by Gabriel. He saw the same things that Enoch saw. They're based off of the same things of the book of Enoch. And again, and I have to stress this. And again, this is we're learning and we're speaking of for lack of a better word, a religion, where we're speaking of writings that were stolen from oppressed people to oppress people to docile people to say, okay, we can control society. So again,
Divide and conquer.
so again, it's a point of view to where you were at, Penn, to say, well, yeah, I understand why they did not express this. Of course, they were not supposed to express this because it wasn't their religion anyways. It wasn't their teachings anyways. They had ensnared and enslaved these people to build what off of these people knowledge, and then decided to take these people knowledge because it worked. So it's a deeper point of view of how it goes, and it's not a racial thing. Especially back then, it wasn't a racial thing. You could be a white man and be a Hebrew. You can be a white man and be a Muslim. You could be a white man and be, or a black man and be, a Jew, or or wherever, or even a pagan for that matter. They themselves didn't call themselves pagan. They themselves didn't call themselves pagans. Not only was the Council of Nicaea meant to do the Bible, they gave us all our holidays. We do Christmas on December 25th because it's Saturnalia, which is where they used to worship Zeus and have a big party. So it just depends on how the history goes and how you choose to interpret the history. You can either like it, love it, hate it, but the truth is there if you look for it in the truth, and depending on what truth you want to find, you can find it. If you feel personally, I feel that history goes way further back than what we have been told. So
I agree.
So I believe that civilization is a lot older than what Western civilization tells us. So I'm going to think from that point of view.
Well, I mean, even in the Jewish Bible, when it starts off, because it starts off with the letter B, that always, their whole synopsis, I don't think synopsis is the right word, but their whole thing contingents on that that it's again. There was chaos and now here it is again. So it's like, this happens on a regular basis, so, and because we get caught up in the stories, us humans, we get caught up in the stories, we're kind of lazy, so we don't read it for ourselves, even when we have the opportunity. I mean, there are two creation stories. The one starts off with, man and male and female, and they were called man. And the second one is the one that we like, about Adam and Eve and the snake, because it has more, it's juicier.
Yeah. And I mean, even when you get into the point of Lilith.
Yeah, but Lilith is not in our Bible, so we didn't. You got to we got to research to find
exactly. Even when you get into even when you get into those points of views of things that are left are that we chose to leave out of the writings that we call holy, that we are still finding today, and that we are still searching for today, that we spend more time and money digging in the dirt looking for our past than we do worrying about computers. Yeah, like I said,
why is that?
Because it's something that we lost here.
Yeah.
It's something that we lost here. We can't see what's going on up there because it's something that we lost here.
Okay, so let's say the Watchers. So who were the Watchers? The Watchers were aliens.
In my point of view, yes.
Okay.
In my point of view, I believe that they had, whether it be a vibrational or whether it be a terrestrial, as far as them being Martians, let's use that for a word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were physical, intangible beings.
Are they still here?
I believe that that type
I
of
think
spirit
so.
yes, I believe that type of spirit got stuck here when they came here, and that was the difference. As they
And
fell, when they
Oh,
came,
so the
when
Watchers fell.
they fell, they came here. They said, "Hey, we coming." You know,
Oh,
the watchers, who said, "Hey, we going down to earth and do this," we're gonna fall. We're going down there to earth, and we're gonna teach the earthlings this, that, and the fifth, and blah, 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 and we're gonna pick wives and that, and their children became the Nephilim,
oh,
and
okay, okay. So the
they are
Watchers
stuck.
are the fallen angels. I guess I'm still confused on.
Yeah,
Okay, so the Watchers are the fallen angels,
the watchers are the
but
fallen angels.
but
Their
not all of them.
their offspring are the Nephilim.
Oh, the Nephilim, right? Okay, okay.
That's the evil,
So
and that's the evil that is still here.
right.
That's that spirit of vibration.
So that's just the thing, is why did it turn? Where did that whole concept of evil? I mean, evil was already here, because they didn't bring it here.
No, because looking at it from that point of view, the devil was already here. For, I hate to say that word like that, but
Yeah,
the
but
first war in heaven had already happened. The first war in heaven had already happened. So they were already cast down. Now, can I
so they
look
were
at it and
cast
say,
down to be watchers.
no, they were cast, they have nothing to do with the watchers.
Oh, okay.
Two different wars.
Okay.
What Lucifer did, Lucifer wanted to be a god.
Right.
Mhm.
He wanted to rule as gods. They were cast down. Now, how they were cast down, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they were cast down, defeated, were given a punishment of a lifespan, and then their spirits or their angelic bodies were stuck here in a different vibration. That I cannot explain. Or was it a punishment? Because I've heard it so many different ways. I've heard it where God made man and made the spirit of man and said, angels, y'all bow down to, I'm giving this to my new creation. And Lucifer was like, no, we're not gonna ever, but we're not bowing to the man. And that's what started the war. So it just depends on how deep it goes. And once again, it's a rabbit hole. So it can go either way. I do believe that it was two different wars, but that also leads me to, I can also go further back and speak on, instead of saying the devil, I can speak on Enki and Enlil, which is Mesopotamia, and two brothers, who had a father, and they were gods, and they came down, they made men. The creation of men were supposed to work for them, mine gold, because their planet Nibiru ran out of gold. They couldn't sustain their own life force. They created humans. They mined the gold that they needed. And Lil said, kill him. Inky said, no, I want to keep these beings that we made. No. And then he gave us the ability to reproduce. And that's where we reproduce, and that's when we started. And then Lil says, okay, well, I'm older, I'm gonna do the flood. And that's the Epic of Gilgamesh. So it's so many It goes further back than what we were taught in church. And I really wish these things were taught, you know, of not just of just to worship, but just to understand. And this is my knowledge. This is the knowledge that me personally, I had to, you know, piece together. Like I said, it's just my piecing together on how I can understand and come along and express what I see that I get from the book of Enoch, and understand it. Do I really want to go into aliens and all that? No. Do I really want to go into Inky and all that? No. I'd rather do that on a different point of view, but it all combines because it all goes back into one. And it's all the same story. No matter wherever you go on this planet, everybody is telling the same story, and it's all written in stone. Sorry, I got long on that one.
No, I kind of missed it while Zion had me, you know, doing something for him.
Comments or questions?
Yeah, I think that it's really important that we get to, especially because as far as I know, and it could be because I haven't read all of the apocryphal books. I've read some of them, and then I don't really keep up. I think that the ones that I really do keep up with are like, you know, the wisdom literatures, you know. But I don't know of anyone else who went there and came back, you know, and told and had a story to tell. So
Jeremiah,
I think this is,
didn't in the Old Testament, Jeremiah, he saw if I'm not mistaken,
well,
he saw the wolves.
Ezekiel, but things came to him. If I no, a whole lot.
Yeah, no, you're right.
A whole lot of them did have vision.
Yeah,
No, but Ezekiel, yeah, no, not Ezekiel, Elijah. Also, didn't he ascend as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm talking about if once they ascended, they didn't come back.
Right, except for Enoch.
I mean, they had visions while they were here, but in their vision took them somewhere. But it seems like with Enoch left and came back.
Right.
So
as well as
in other words, they had the ultimate. I was going to say they had the ultimate astral travel.
Right, because they just stayed. They stayed gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as well as Muhammad. Muhammad came back.
Oh, well, see, I don't know anything about Muhammad. Yeah. So
you know,
Muhammad ascended and then he came back.
Mm-hmm.
He left and came back.
Yes, he traveled with Gabriel. He traveled with the same angels that Enoch traveled. So that's what I'm saying. Is this older? That's my question. That's why I want to do this. Is this older? And again, and this time I don't mean in a derogatory. Are we reciting what we're hearing that we know, but the story is changing because of the ages, and it's older than what we know.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's older than what we know.
So
I'm pretty sure it's older.
So if we say
I agree with that.
So if it's older than what we know, imagine metaphysically, you all. Imagine if all that has already happened. Not only Enoch in the First Testament, but also the Second Testament in Revelation. Imagine if all that has already happened, and now we have the knowledge and we are left with the power to know 100%. Like you say, Pen, that we can train ourselves to walk on water.
Mm-hmm.
Because the blueprint has already been put in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So is it that we are reciting, are we re-looking at the blueprint we as people keep forgetting, or we're not passing the knowledge upon?
Well, and that's a really good question. There's some circles, and I'm not, I just don't know, what circles are. But there are some circles that just simply say that this is hell. This earth plane, this third dimension is hell. And there's so much we have to do to escape hell. And by escaping hell, it just means that we become lighter, so that we are no longer weighed down by the inertia of the earth's vibrations to stay here.
Yeah.
So, hell could be an eternity,
Yeah.
we don't know how long we've been here. We don't know how long we've been coming here.
Exactly. Imagine if God just said, all right, and left us the hell alone and said, all right, man, I need to read a new book. Imagine if his focus, imagine if he's still thinking about us, but right now he's creating something, a whole new stuff. We not saying that we're done and we don't have anywhere to go or anything like that, but imagine if we've already accomplished. Imagine if our civilization and our history has already been through the hell. The only people who are taking each other through the hell that we are afraid of is us.
Yeah, because we haven't chosen to rise above. We still see ourselves as separate, as separate. And everything that we're reading so far has to do with separation. It still has to do with, huh? Oh, that's to talk to the kids. Sometimes we got to do that. Sometimes we do have to talk to them. But
sorry, I felt something drop on my head. I was like, what are you doing?
But I think that it's interesting that, that is the cause and the cure, is our sense of separation. Because even this whole book of Enoch was about, that I could grasp, is that it's about separation. It's about, some of them, they came here, they just caused havoc because havoc is available here, because of the things that are separate. In the place that's glorious and beautiful and fragrant, that right smack dab in the middle of it is a cursed valley. You
can't be in heaven kicking a donkey.
Right. Yeah. So the thing is that we really have to choose. It really has to be a choice, not to be to rise above, I guess.
Because we have both of it in us.
Yeah.
We have the heavens in us, because first of all, we're from Adam. We're from God's creation. And then not only are we from God's creation, we are not only, you can't say that the Nephilim did not pollute our bloodlines. So we are two parts of one, and it's split. If that made any sense to y'all. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess, I don't know, for me, I don't know where I stand on, these new characters. I've always heard of the Nephilim, and they're supposed to be giants and stuff. I don't really know what I really feel about them. There's so many things that, I don't know how I can how I put in myth and legend compared to, reality, science here. So, but I do feel that we still have Nephilim here. These people who are, these giants of the industry who are always, figuring out some type of new technological device just simply to harm people, because they're not really trying to help people with it. So those are the people that I think are the Nephilim. It does not cost you $900 for 30 pills. It only costs you 12, but you're gonna sell them at $900 anyway, because that way you can make more money.
That's where the greed comes in at.
That's where the greed. That's that eating of the man. That's where
that's the Nephilim. Those to me are the Nephilim.
Eating men. Yeah.
Yeah, those to me are the Nephilim.
So Miss Joe, that you still with us? Can you comment? Please let us know how you feel about looking at the good and the bad, or how we are looking at the way that we have broken down the book of Enoch a little bit. Even though that you said, I know you said you didn't understand, but as far as
I mean, looking at good and evil, I'm piggyback off of Penn a little, Penelope, right? I mean, like she said, for the cost of 9 pills, right? They want to say 9 pills, they want $600-700. It's the greed that's controlling it. We see the good and bad every day playing out in front of us, T-Man.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to make that choice, because the devil is always tempting you. What you gonna do with your life while you're here? That's all we can do. I mean, when I go in the store now, I used to say when I come to Virginia, oh gee, let me get this because this is less here and ship it back. It don't make no sense because everything is high wherever you go now. Are you aware of that?
Oh yeah. Ridiculous. But when we don't choose to, and then again, you don't even know how do we rise above. I mean, we can do the best that we can do individually, to have a consciousness of love, to help our neighbors, to do things, to be a model person that somebody can look at and find inspiration to become. But it's so much stuff. It's just so much. So it's hard to put your finger on one thing, to thinking that you're going to fix this or heal this or at least slow this down. But there's another thing right beside you that's twisting you up, so that you can't really get to do as much as we would like to do.
But don't you think there's something gonna have to happen, because it's like it's squeezing the working person. I mean, just the retired person. Something's gonna have to happen where all of the greedy ones will be exposed. You think so?
Yeah, I would hope so. But that's just the thing. I mean, so many things that greed has, so many things that greed has created, they have created laws so that you have to go along with their greediness. Although the stuff that they are doing is against the law, it's against the law for you to go against them.
It's against the law, exactly. So therefore that's, and you guys, I think you guys have hit something really, really good on that when you are speaking of the Nephilim that we're dealing with now. Like, greed is one of the main things that we hear about in the book of Enoch. and one of the biggest things that was going on, like, for real. At first they were worshipped as kings. These giants were worshipped as kings. They were treated above and beyond. And then all of a sudden, as they got greedier and they got hungrier and they took from the people, the people had no more to give them, so they started eating the people.
Look at Trump, y'all. I don't make one of
people. That's what society is doing to each other right now. You know.
Do you think Trump will be convicted for any? I mean, we know he's outright did so much and said it live on TV. You know what I'm saying? Do you think he'll ever get? I mean, it seems like the ones that's doing wrong, they still can stay in office and stuff. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, to answer that question, I really don't know. It seems like because you always hear the story, whoever has the best lawyer is the one who wins.
Yeah.
To me, his lawyers always seem so stupid. They do. His lawyers always seem so stupid, but then he always comes out on top. And I do think that there is a I think that I think that because me personally, I do believe that there is a beginning and an ending to everything. And I think that this end of this age that we are coming into, I think that he plays a major role in that. So,
what about how do you feel?
I'm going to vote against it, but be president again, because if that's what is supposed to happen, that is going to be what is going to happen. And it's for us to be.
Say that again, Penelope. What did you say? You wouldn't vote against him? What did you just say?
No, I said, I will ask me personally. Yeah, I'm gonna vote against him because,
okay.
I didn't particularly.
I thought you said I would vote for him. I was like,
no, I wouldn't vote for him, but I would. But I do believe, me personally, I think that he has a place in this time. So even if he is convicted, I think we will be voting for him in jail. I think that me personally, I just think that he has a major role in the whatever is coming.
The takedown of this country.
Whatever.
I think his role has been fulfilled, because what he has done is brought out the racism, the hatred that has always been there, but it's just been bubbling below the surface. And he has brought it all out. He has served his purpose. Now it's his time to serve his sentence.
No, me personally, right now. I don't do politics and religion. I don't mix the two. There's a reason why I do follow the Constitution of the United States, because I do not mix politics and religion. But
they mix so well. That's just the thing. They mix so well. They always have. Religion and politics have always been hand in hand, like this.
Long as you not doing nothing to nobody to hurt nobody, I don't care what you do.
Yeah,
so,
but
but that's the thing about it.
Man, you can't.
But who is that? Who is that doing anything?
I don't do politics and religion. I don't mix the two.
You can't get around it, T-Man.
Well, and this is why I say that. When it comes to politics, I will never give anyone that power to say that they can do something that I know that if I can get a masses of people amongst them not to do, that won't happen. If you are supposed to be and I go against that, then I'm gonna do everything if you think that you are supposed to, I'm gonna do everything I possibly can to deny you of that. And in a rightful
Yeah,
way.
I mean,
And in a rightful way, in a lawful way. I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna tell you that I'm not gonna vote or I'm not gonna do this because I believe that this and then I'm not doing that. My politics are my personal business, just the same as anybody's, just the same as I
but
will
right
not
here,
ask you.
you know, right here when we talking about the Nephilim,
Yeah.
all of that's political. All of this stuff right here in all of the book of Enoch, all of this stuff is religion and politics all mixed up together.
But when you deal with politics, and you deal with religion, you have to split the two. Because if you look at your politicians as those Nephilim, if you look at your,
but they're just people.
That means that they're just people. That means you have more power than they do. But when we are at masses and we look at them and we have this conversation to say that, you know what, this man, etc., I ain't saying no names, but this man, is he gonna get away with this? Is he gonna get away with that? Is he gonna? You know what? Man,
well, see, to me, that's not even politics.
I ain't giving him power. I'm not.
But that's to me, that's not even politics. That's just gossip.
That's not. But that's the point of. That's the point of. He has. It's not just him as a King Nephilim. He has other Nephilim that report back to him. He has computers that are the computers don't work for us. When we set this interview out on YouTube, you know, people are going to see it. They're going to hear that name. We're giving that power. I refuse not to give negative energy. I'm not saying that you are, but politics and what we're speaking are two different points of views.
Well, see, I see. I see.
I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
A king can't be a god.
Yeah.
And a king can't be a god, and he wants to be a god.
Well, most kings think that they are God. I mean, you know, really.
And that's your failure.
Most kings are told, and the people are told
and that's every king's failure, starting with David.
Yeah,
and starting
because
with
they're
David.
just people. We haven't figured that part out yet.
When you forget,
I think that all of the things like politics, religion, all of the things that have a group where groups of people have to form conditions and laws because we haven't had the patience yet to become fully evolved. You know, we go by things and we create that thing and we think that that thing is real. Religion not real, politics not real. These are just these people acting out like they are somebody, you know, because they at this point in time they feel they have power.
The only thing that separates us from the animals is somebody told us what not to do. That's the only thing that separates us from animals. Somebody told us what not to do. Animals do whatever they want to do.
But they stay in their own environment, though.
No, they.
You know,
according to us, because we told them what not to do. Because now we're telling them what not to do. Do not invade our space.
We taking over their space by tearing down the trees.
Yeah, we are.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are.
That's the only thing that separates us from animals. That somebody tells us what not to do.
Wow. Well, we living in some crazy times, but you just got to stay positive while you're going through it. You know, because every day, some days I don't even pick up the newspaper, either look on it on my phone, because it's so depressing.
Oh, see, I don't even watch it. I never was a news watcher. You know, not since, you know, what was the Hinkley Brinkley,
Yeah, I
big
understand, but I
report.
still want to keep up with what's going on in the world every now and then. I'm not one that have to look at the news every day, but
Yeah,
this world is just topsy-turvy. You know, you could go to the store and don't know if you're gonna come home.
yeah.
You know, with all the killings and stuff, and that's, you can't say what's just happening here. It's happening everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
It's happening
But
everywhere.
that's the thing. I mean, isn't that what is predicted from in Revelation and in all of those things that when we talk about the end of the age, aren't all of those things predicted?
Yeah.
True indeed. And that's where I'm saying, what if all that has already happened? And we have so many scared people reading it, and we're recreating it, and we're missing the message again. And we're already missing the message again.
Mm-hmm.
Women no longer have
definitely. Go ahead, Joanne.
women no longer have control over their own body. That's something. I'm glad I'm an old woman and no one can tell me to say if I don't want to bring forth a child life in this
God,
world.
they brought the Homestead Act back. I'm like, what? That's 1893. Y'all brought the Homestead Act back? That even has to do with condoms.
Mm-hmm. See, religion and politics. Religion and politics, they go together like birds of a feather. But anyway, y'all, it's 3:47.
Mm-hmm.
We have had a fantastic meeting today. And I would like to, I know that this was the end of this chapter, but I hope that we can either go back, do it again, because, I don't mind doing it again, because I really would like to understand this book of Enoch, or we can, move forward and see, because it did say it had a book too. So,
okay.
So it's up to you, but I wouldn't mind doing some further study.
Well, as usual, Penn, I will take what the audience would like to do. If there's certain things that we want to go back and study, and now we have it all videoed. So if there's anything that, any questions, again, comments, or anything that we want to do and go back and rehatch, definitely. But I would love to keep it moving to do to do the apocryphal books. Definitely. And just to see what was going on in a lot of the times that we're speaking of. Book of Enoch was different. It's older, but also in the life of Jesus, the book of Jubilees, how they really study, how we study. We understand that, we call ourselves these.
Okay, so you want to just do the apocryphal books then, as opposed to staying with Enoch? But didn't Enoch have?
We can stay with Enoch. Yeah.
Let's stay we could do we still can keep the where's my, I don't know what I did with my calendar. We still could keep the third Saturday for the book of Enoch. Why don't we just do it like this? Why don't we keep the third Saturday for the book of Enoch? Either we go to book 2 or we'll do another book in the Apocrypha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Well, then that sounds fantastic. Okay, well, let's do our round table real quick. What did we get from today's session, and how can we apply it to our lives?
Well, I didn't get too much from it because it's still confusing to me, and maybe I need to apply, like going back over it. You did say it's on tape. All of it is on. Is it all on tape?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I can go back and look at that. Maybe I'll be able to, when you ask this question again. But I know each day as I move forward, I just try to move in a positive light.
Mm-hmm.
And I always enjoy listening to everybody else's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got out of today.
Thank you. Well, I can go next. One of the things that I got from today's session is that information is so important. It's so valuable just to know stuff. It's, you know, it's so important to understand as much as we can about our spiritual life and how we advance and how we create. And this is what I really got from today's session, is that we are creators. And, you know, and all of the stuff that we think that we have believed in, yeah, it's real. Then, you know, he saw a tree of wisdom. And, you know, that was really, you know, good to look at. And how wonderful is that, to think that there is a realm of consciousness that reflects so much back that I will see something that I recognize. You know, how wonderful is that? And those are the things that I want to do. And how can I apply that to my life? I'm just going to believe it. I really want to start believing all of these things. You know, I've had a logical mind to things, but I haven't always believed it. You know, now I'm realizing that's the trick. That's the trick right there, is to believe it. So that's how I'm going to apply it to my life. How about you, Harriet or Andre?
Well, for me, what I got from today's session is that there is always more than one viewpoint as far as our history and what we know, what we don't know about the past. And we have to keep in mind that this was all written by man. And we have to take it from each writer's perspective and try and understand where they're coming from, and take what they have given to us that we can feel comfortable with, that will help us to move along spiritually and mentally as well. Because mental means that we're looking at it with a certain amount of knowledge and understanding. And to me, that is so important. And I think that when we, and again, this is my opinion, when we, instead of taking things personally or taking things that are being said and being done, and try and understand where the other person is coming from. Why do they think that way? Why do they see things that way? What has been their experience to cause them to think and see things in a certain way, when from my perspective, it's just the opposite? And I think the important lesson for me here is to try and gain an understanding of my fellow man. I may not agree with them, but at least I understand where they're coming from. And I don't have to argue with them and try and never, ever try and convince somebody that you are right and they are wrong. Because what's right for me is not necessarily right for you, and just the opposite.
Thank you. Thank you. How about you, Andre?
Today was fun. It was a very fun class. I'm glad. I hope everyone had a good time speaking and expressing how they see that the path and the journey that they are on, that creation has given them. Today I learned that not only is my tree a weeping willow, it is also intertwined. It is the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. mixed together. And I can choose to eat from both of those. And I choose to eat from where I want to plant a seed and be a positive person in someone's lives, even though they may not understand where I'm coming from or don't even see my vision, but never eat from that tree to destroy theirs. You never share that fruit from the tree of destruction. Allow creation to create and understand everyone's point of view. So I've learned again something very beautiful about how life goes and how to be able to interact with people and to hopefully entertain and talk to people and understand that we are still from the same root, no matter what tree it is.
Oh yeah, well that was beautiful. That was beautiful. That was fantastic. And thank you everybody for today's session. I really like it that we have that we can pick up obscure things, because this is pretty obscure to me. I mean, I have never been in a group where we actually read the book of Enoch before. And I might have had a class or a session on Enoch, but not where I read the entire book. So I think that this is really an important view that we get to take, because we get to do something different. We get to explore. We can, put all our hopes and dreams on it, or we can chuck it out the window. But at least we know, at least we have some information about it. At least we've, paid some attention and given it and have given it some thought. So thank you all so much for being here with us and, giving us the opportunity to talk about different things. And let's see, next week, we have A Course in Miracles from 5 to 6:30 on Wednesday, every Wednesday. On Thursday, we have the session with I Am with Forrest at 11 a.m. And the Book of Longings with Reverend Sakina at 7 to 8:30. I don't have my calendar, but I do know that on whatever Saturday is, whatever date Saturday is, we're going to be doing the angels.
Right. Yeah. It's the first Saturday of the month.
It's the first Saturday, yeah. And we'll be doing a study on angels. And on the 7th, we're going to have a tarot expo. Yay! I think that's going to be so much fun, because we, the lady, George Tremiel was coming on the 7th. And I said, well, shoot, we might as well just have a good tarot, a good tarot expo and have all things tarot. So I'm thinking about it. I'll figure it out and I'll be getting with everybody, but it's going to be here at my house. So just let everybody know it's going to be here at my house. And if I can figure out how to do it, so that we can still have something done on, through video, I will. So I'll figure it out. But anyway, that's it for this week. Any other questions or comments?
Just don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on our YouTube page.
Oh yeah.
And Inner Haven is on YouTube, and just look for the green, type in Inner Haven, Google Inner Haven, look for the green circle with the white letter I in the middle.
Okay, thank you so much. Would anyone like to close us out in prayer?
I'll go ahead and take us out.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Ms.
Go ahead,
Joe, you gonna take us out?
Andre. Go ahead, Andre.
Okay. I was saying Miss Joe was gonna do it.
Oh.
Okay, I'll take us out. Heavenly Father, once again, thank you for allowing us to come together to take a path, to walk up to a tree of life, of knowledge, of understanding, of love, of unity, to get to know each other, understand where each other comes from in your words, whether they be the words from man or whether they be words from scripture, and however we feel them, as long as we feel those words. And when we feel these words, we act righteously and we understand one another. And we know that we are a part of your kingdom. In understanding one another and being a part of your kingdom, that means we treat each other with respect and honor. With all these things, we wish to go out in the world and take these blessings that we've had and use them for another day, another week, until we can get together. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye. Love you.
Love you all. Bye.
Bye.